This is our historical little cabin. We built it kind of on the pattern of my third great-grandfather's cabin that was described in one of the novels that was written about his life, and we just wanted a place that when our family members came home that they could enjoy and that was kind of historical. And we used all rough lumber, and we used the windows and things that were in storage sheds for about 50 years in order to do this. And it's the kind of a cabin that you could actually build to start with, and then where the large windows are on each side, you could put a wing that had additional bedrooms. And so we thought it was really a good choice for us. So this is the inside of the cabin, and it actually has 2 lofts, and we included an extra 8 feet so that there would be room for a sink and also a bathroom behind the sink. So here's the extra wash basin. And then there is a shower and a toilet. But as you can see, we've tried to keep things so that they were fairly historical. And we have back here the hot water heater, and we did not connect to water or sewer. We have a water line that runs out, and you can hook up to it the same as you would hook up to a an RV setup. And we have the RV container that we can take out from underneath and go dump in our sewer. And by doing that, we didn't have to pay building costs and that type of thing because it's considered freestanding. But today what we're going to do is we want to show you the difference between building a ladder that goes to a loft and building a staircase that goes to a loft. So this is the ladder that we built, and we're finding that a ladder is a little inconvenient if you have really young children or you have someone who's elderly, because most of the beds are in the upstairs lofts. And so this is the ladder that we built. And Ken, if you'll just come and tell how you put this ladder together.
Well, this was just made out of rough lumber, and I dadoed or routed out a groove for each end of the steps to fit into, and put 2 screws in each end.
And how deep was the routed space?
It's about a 1/4 inch deep.
Okay.
The steps are a full 4-inch wide because this is rough lumber.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just too steep.
And by doing the 1/4 inch, it makes it so that you don't really affect the strength and the stability of the stringer that you have it on. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, and then this is what we did, and Ken will show you how instead of having this out in the middle of the floor all the time, that we could just slide it over to the side, and then the floor would be open. And we have gone with this for about 5 years. I think it's been about 5 years since we built the cabin. And we have decided that we need a staircase instead of a ladder so that more people would be able to find the lofts accessible. And so we're going to stand up the part of the staircase that we have just built, and it was built exactly the same way as the ladder was built. So Ken, will you go ahead and set that over beside the ladder so that they can see the difference in how far out that goes into the room. Okay, so now we have set the beginnings to the staircase down, and you can see the difference in how far out it comes into the room compared with a ladder. Do you see the difference in the slope? And Ken has made this so that he has set these steps in exactly the same way that he described having done the ladder, just by routering them in 1/4 of an inch deep and then by securing them with 2 screws on each side. And he's made sure that each step does not fall underneath the step above it, so that when you're coming back down, you have full access to the full width of the step. And then he also made sure that everything was level for the slope that he wanted. And he also increased the width, as you can see, over what a ladder would be. And so that's as far as we've gotten at this point, and we will turn it back on when we have additional information. Okay, we are going to show you putting up the handrail. So we have purchased the same spindles that we already had on the loft, and we are going to take the exact same spindles up and down this staircase. We have decided, rather than painting everything in place, that we painted things individually, and then we can do the little bit of touch-up that needs to be done, and that will keep from dripping and running on the floor or anything below it. So some of the first steps is that wood has character, and when you purchase spindles, it's smart to use spindles that have character in places that you say a lot. And so you choose the spindles with the most character in places where things start and end, and you are going to have to put in the first and the last spindles in order to make sure that all of the rest of them fall exactly where you want them on the rail. And in order to attach them, then you need to drill all the way through the rail and into the top of the spindle. It usually takes doing the process twice. Do the rail first and just barely start a little hole in the top of the spindle, and then move the spindle and finish drilling the hole through the spindle. And then in the top of the rail, countersink the hole so that the screw can go all the way down in, and you can put a plug or some of your wood putty in if you want to hide it. So Ken is just getting ready to put the top rail on the top spindle, and then we will show you how to put the other ones on so that they match well. Now, of course, we've cut the top of the spindles at the slope that we want. So like on the bottom here, you can see that there's a slope. And then we have finished the rail off by putting it just below the bottom spindle. Okay, and then let me show you how we have attached the spindles. So if we come down here, you can see that we have attached the spindles so that the very bottom of them is even with the bottom of the side, and we have one at the top and at the bottom of each spindle. So you have 2 screws through the bottom and then one very long one that goes all the way through the top of the rail and down into the spindle. And then we are going to space the others, and we have decided that we are going to go at the back of each step, and that way we space them out exactly the same from each other. I told you that we put 2 holes and then countersink on each of the bottoms, and now Kenny has just put 1 screw in the bottom, not 2, and then he is going to tell us what you're going to do.
I'm going to drill down through the rail into the top of the spindle and drill a little bit further down into the spindles for the screw to go in. Then I will pull it back and put a dab of liquid nails there, and then push it back up and put the screw down through. So now I've got a mark. I'm going to drill a smaller hole for the screw to go into. It doesn't take very much, it's pretty sticky.
And did you countersink the top hole on your rail?
That's what I'm doing now.
Okay. So we're countersinking that top hole. Okay, so there's the next one, and we are just going to repeat times about